All right, I want to call to order the Raymore Park Board meeting for Tuesday, February 27th, 2018. I need a roll call, please.
Member Castleman.
Present.
Member Eastwood.
Present.
Member Harris.
Present.
Member Heath.
Present.
Member Howdyshell.
Present.
Member Seamers.
Present.
Member Troutman.
Present.
Chairman Manson.
Present. All right, all stand.
Member Cipolla is also present.
Oh, sorry.
You left somebody out.
I did not have that one down. I caught. Okay, there is a correction on our minutes.
Let me know when we're caught up.
Everybody's here?
All right, we have live bodies. Thank you. All right, all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, no personal appearances. We'll go to the consent agenda. This is item A, Park Board minutes. This is from the meeting of January 23rd, 2018. There's an amendment there that shows 2017.
I move we accept the minutes from the January 23rd, 2018 meeting.
Second.
All right, a motion's been made and seconded for acceptance of the minutes from the January 23rd, 2018 meeting. Any discussion or changes? Yes. Sir.
I do have a correction on there. Why Ms. Cipolla was missed on the roll call is because her name's not listed in the minutes, so we'll make that correction.
Thank you. All right. With the noted exception and change, all those in favor of the minutes? All right, it's unanimous. Thank you. Move on to committee reports. Director Mustine. Pardon me. We don't. Yes, Director Mustine. I think we had a budget committee.
Yes, sir. On February 13th, we did have a work session at Centerview discussing the upcoming CIP, where we reviewed unfunded projects and new project ideas. Minutes or notes are attached to the back of your packet in the miscellaneous section. If be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for the director? All right, seeing none. Thank you, sir. Is there no other committee reports? We'll move on to staff reports. Director Mustine.
Thank you, sir. I'll call on Recreation Superintendent McLean.
Thank you, sir. I have submitted a written report in the packet, as you guys have in front of you. I'd like to highlight a couple of things. One, as you can tell, we've had some time to catch up on some of the administrative duties at Centerview. We've been working on rentals again, picking those back up. We slowed down a little bit during the holiday season as anticipated, but we are gearing back up and having multiple things. We're also having a few of our own programs kicking off. And one of our first actual events that Recreation Coordinator Patrick held was the Valentine's Ball this month. We sold out of tickets for that first annual event. It was quite a success. We had great turnout. We had a lot of happy daughters. We had some great food and snacks and photo booth, and so it was a very, very fun and good event, a successful event, I will say. And so especially for a first event that we actually held, that staff organized and did everything from start to finish at Centerview. So that one was good. During the meetings and trainings, both coordinators this week are at their first Missouri Parks and Recreation Association's annual conference and expo. So they headed out this morning with Superintendent Rouleau and are going to be attending that this week and learning and meeting new people and hopefully bringing back some good ideas for our Parks and Rec department. As you can see, like I said, we picked up on some of the rentals, and then of course on the sports side, this weekend we close out the youth basketball program, the winter program, with a season-end tournament. And so we are wrapping that program up, and we are currently taking registrations for the spring sports, and all of those are starting to, some of the deadlines are hitting us quick. Soccer and volleyball will hit first, and then baseball is later in the end of March. But at this point, I will entertain any questions.
John, are there more warranty items still pending on Centerview?
Yes, we do have we have a couple of electrical items, lighting items. There was one of the bollards, the sidewalk bollards, one of those lights has water coming out of the base of it, and then it lost power, so they were waiting for a little bit better weather to be working outside. That bollard was one issue, and then we had some of the lights over the patio area on the pergola. We had some of those fill up with water, and when we emailed them the issue, they did respond quickly and said yes, they had a bad batch with some bad seals in them. They are a 24/7 light, and so we're waiting for a couple new strands to be replaced out there. Outside of that, everything else is caught up.
Any other questions? All right, seeing none. Thank you, Superintendent.
Thank you.
Director Musteen.
Thank you, sir. Park Superintendent Rulo is, like John said, attending the Missouri Parks and Rec Conference, so he's not here tonight, so I'll speak on a couple of things that he asked me to talk about. Number one, the pergola at Ward Park, that particular CIP project is now complete with the water fountain installed. One of our new employees, Gus Booz, was pretty instrumental in designing that pergola, purchasing the equipment, ordering all that, organizing the crew. It was really good to see that young man take some initiative and do a great project, and if you've been out to see it, he did a fantastic job. So that's one project that is now complete. Another project that we have out in the maintenance shop is the fence that we put up around the yard with the security. Well, it's not completely secure, but it's a security fence with a windscreen to help just kind of hide the work area and the storage area. That is now complete and finished. We've done a punch list, so we'll be issuing a final payout on that project. So it looks really good too. It really cleans up and makes things look nice. If you've been to Rec Park, you'll see that the rack they're taking advantage of some of this good weather, and the brick wall, the hard surface wall that's on the south side is all the way up to the top. It looks good. It's starting to take shape, and it's a pretty cool project. We're excited about it. And the guys today were working out at Hawk Ridge practice fields. They did some overseeding and aerating, getting ready for just the practice fields, prepping them for that area. A couple other things I want to highlight is the tree board met last week. I've provided notes in the miscellaneous section of your folder, which also includes an arboretum map and signs that the tree board has approved that we will go ahead and order those and put at the south and the north end of the arboretum area. So those are included in your packet. I want to thank Melissa, who's sitting behind us. She helped us design those and get those things ready, so she's been pretty helpful in that regard. And also, this Friday, we do have what we hope to be our last meeting with Confluence and the designers of Hawk Ridge Park before we go out to bid. This will be, we've received our first permit approval from the State Department and then the Corps of Engineers. All of these things, because there's grant money involved, take additional permitting process, so it's just taken a long time. So we got the first one today, which kind of dominoes the next one, And in the meantime, while we're waiting on those, we are going to meet and make sure that everything else is, all the ducks are lined up, so that as soon as that's approved, we can give that to the finance department and put that out to bid. So hopefully we'll be out on the street for this project pretty soon. So that's exciting too. And with that, sir, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for the director? All right, seeing none, we'll move on. Director Mustine.
Thank you. First item in our new business is the Raymore Arts Commission Alcohol in the Park application. If the park board will remember, we do have a policy in place for alcohol in the park. We review that about every 2 years. We did the last revision of that in 2016. So this particular item is in that policy is for groups, organizations, nonprofit groups, things like that that want to use the facilities for special events. So at this time, historically, the only one that we've ever gone with is Festival in the Park that we approve every year, and you'll see that coming probably next month or the next. But tonight we have a new application with the Arts Commission, their event Summer Scene that's coming up in June. They would like to expand that event. It's been pretty successful for them, and they wanted to add a few things. So we went ahead and had them fill out the application. You'll see that they have a alcohol permit attached, basic information on the event, and alcohol and tobacco control license for their caterer that they have, they would like to contract. Not much of a park map, as it's at TB Hanna Station, so I mean it's in the entire park. It's not really like at the festival where there's a specific area. But I did ask Melissa to come tonight. She would be more than happy to answer any questions should you guys have any. But I would remind the park board that once we've reviewed this, and if the park board should approve this, it does go to city council for final approval. And at that point, the Arts Commission or the communications staff working on their behalf will complete the permits through the city clerk's office, organize the security detail with the police department, really work that angle of it, much like we do for the festival in the park. And with that, staff does recommend approval of the application. We have waived the application fee that we would typically charge for an outside organization. And we will also work in partnership with the communications department with rental of the depot as part of the event. This is a partnership between the two departments, and it's just a great event. So if you have any questions, I know Melissa is here. She'd probably be fine not having to speak, but I'm perfectly happy embarrassing her and bringing her up here to make her speak. So,
Are there any questions for the director? Linda.
So in doing this, just to clarify, it's only going to be the beverage company, I don't remember the name of it now off the top of my head, Embrace the Grape, that's going to be selling alcohol. It's not going to be the food trucks or anything like that. It's only going to be Embracing the Grape.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll just call Melissa up.
Okay.
I'll make her talk.
Because I got a second one too, so that's correct, right?
That's correct.
Okay. And then, now I have to remember what my second one was. I should have asked the second one first because I thought I pretty much knew the answer to that. Yeah, I totally lost the second one. Maybe somebody else has a question and then it'll come back to me.
Anyone else with a question?
Ah, great.
It comes back to you, Linda. Brian.
Oh, good, Brian. Let me think for a
I
second.
do have a question. I see that they're offering beer, wine, and as beer cider and wine. Does our policy limit the type of alcohol? Because I know we had that discussion way early on that we didn't want hard liquor, and then we started to get into alcoholic content of wine versus beer. And I was trying to look it up real quick in city code, but I couldn't find it. It just said per our policy, I think, but.
I know that the application does currently abide by the policy. To answer your question in terms of hard liquor, I don't know. If you give me just a few minutes,
I mean, they're not offering hard liquor, it doesn't look like.
No, they're not. So they're not in violation of the policy. I just don't
Okay.
have the answer off the top
Okay.
of my head to your question, but I can find that for you.
Okay. That's all. It just dawned on me because I know at the festival, it's only beer is what they offer, as far as I know, but I like wine, obviously, would be a good fit for this event, so if we need to modify something, we should do it.
I did think of my question.
Go ahead, Melinda.
Okay, thanks. So now, are we just contracting out with them? So is the profit going to them, or is profit going to us, or?
So what they have offered us is that we're not being charged at all, and once the owner once she covers her costs, she is donating a portion of her sales back to the Rainbow Arts Commission. So we're not doing this to make money, but we will hopefully get a little bit back to kind of cover some of our other costs.
Great, okay.
Eric.
Can you describe what the event is? Like, I see there's some bands, but what else?
Sure, sure. So this will be the third year for this, and this is my first year putting it on. I started with the city about 5 days before last year's summer scene event, but basically we will have artists and makers with booths selling their art, and we have a lot of interactive activities for children and everybody. We're going to have a community art event where everyone is going to be able to participate to create a piece of art. And it's just a lot of hands-on activities and food and music and kind of cultural wonderfulness.
Okay, thank you.
Any luck, Director?
After a quick glance, there's no restrictions on that, but I could just be missing it because I'm trying to hurry. So I'll look more thoroughly and then follow up with the park board later on that. And if it's not and we want to have that limitation, then we can always address that as we review the policy again.
All right. Any other questions for Director Mustine or Melissa? Go ahead, Michelle.
There's going to be a petting zoo, I see.
An instrument petting zoo.
Oh.
I'm sorry.
Oh, yes. I just
And
saw
actually,
petting zoo.
I was.
Is that camel going to be back again? That was that there at Christmas time?
No, but it would be the right weather, right? And actually, so today I got a confirmation from the symphony I was working with that was there last year that they cannot attend, so I'm reaching out to another area symphony to see if we can still make that happen.
Maybe reach out to an actual petting zoo, too, while you're at it.
We might have our animal shelter bring a cat or something, right? Yes.
Any other questions? All right, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion at this time. This is an action item.
I move we approve the application for alcohol for the summer scene on June 9th, 2018.
Second.
All right, motion's been made and seconded for acceptance of the alcohol license for the art festival. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor? All right, passes unanimously.
I actually have for you. You're some of the first people to get our promotional
thank you.
marketing piece.
Thank you.
That we all. I didn't write you, I did it just so you voted.
Oh, I like the date and the time on the back.
Very nice.
Thank you. All right, moving on, we'll go to item B on the agenda, the Recreation Park Pedestrian Safety Enhancements. Director Mustine.
Thank you, sir. As part of the 2017-18 CIP projects, the Park Board funded the Recreation Park Pedestrian Safety Enhancements. This project, we went out to bid, we designed scope of work and went out to bid, and we received those bids. This is the first review of the Park Board for those bid results. and pretty pleased with the results. This particular project, I've included a project map with the scope of work. The focus behind this project was ultimately, just like it's in the name, of pedestrian safety improvements. That is to get folks to get off of the parking lot at Recreation Park and onto a trail system without having to walk all the way through the park to access the activity areas. Predominantly, this project is focused around the baseball complex because that's where we see the most problems, but we also included some accessible entrances off the soccer side as well. So this project, we did have a budget of $100,000. We submitted or opened it for bids, and we received 4 bids, and I have provided a bid summary for you, and you will see that one bid, I apologize, we had 3 base bids plus an alternate bid within the scope. And you'll see on the bid tabulation that Tandem Paving was the only company that came under the $100,000 budget, and that does not include the alternate bid. So the rest of the tallies are there, broke down by the base bids, just for your information. The scope of work is involved. We have already notified Tandem Paving that they are the apparent low bid by state law of having to do that. And we have checked references along with our current work relationship with Tandem Paving, as they are the current contractor at Memorial Park for that trail project going on. We have been very pleased with their customer service, very pleased with their product, and staff does recommend Tandem Paving as a award of bidder for this particular contract. You'll see within the scope of work what is exactly entailed, and following that, depending on how the park board directs staff tonight, if they choose to accept a recommendation, we will move to city council at the next council meeting for first and second reading, and then send a notice of award to Tandem Paving. Timeline should begin somewhere in April at that point, after they mobilize and get ready to go. And with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions, sir.
Any questions for the director? All right, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion. Did you have a question, Brian?
Yes, I do.
All right, thank you.
All right, let me see if I can clarify this. Our budget was $100,000. Tandem Paving's base bid came in at 98. The alternate was an extra 20.
Yes.
The alternate's for the west connector, which is the one that goes by the pond, right?
Yes.
This motion would only be for the award of project to them for the base project.
Yes, sir. I am not recommending at this time the alternate bid.
Because?
We don't have the money.
Okay. Anywhere? Or it would require a budget amendment to do that?
It would require a budget amendment at that time.
Which would be too late to go ahead and have them do the work at the same time if that's what we desired to do?
It is not too late to do it. I am just thinking of what our fund balance is and what we need to get done.
Okay.
The alternate bid was added as just a bonus, an extra to enhance the park, but not a necessity.
Okay.
And that particular segment is included in the Madison Street improvements in our unfunded project. I just pulled that out and tried to see what type of a bid we could get. I would not recommend it at this time, but I am glad that we did it because we got a good price of what that is, and I can base that estimate on our unfunded project off of that and really get that estimate on that.
But the Madison Street trail improvement includes this west connector piece?
Yes, it does.
Because I kind of look at it a different way, like Eric was thinking. That trail already exists, right? But if it gets wet and you go that direction, you either turn around or you slop through the water. But if we add this piece, that gives them another route through our park. Do you know what I'm saying?
That particular piece connects the roundabout to the parking lot. That's what it does. That alternate bid connects the roundabout and goes due east, parallel to the pond and the street, and connects to the parking lot.
Or the park I mean, or the complex, right? The complex.
Part of that alternate bid also is a replacement of, what hole is that, Eric, on the disc golf? Right there on the hole 3. We'll have to remove and relocate the tee box on hole 3 of the disc golf course, because where we placed it is just tight between that tree and the riprap there. That's where it's going through.
I just see this as another alternative from the discussion we had on the, yeah, right? And it would give people another route through the park and keep them off the road, kind of through the center of the park as far as a walking trail, that small connector. I'd be interested in that project, very interested in doing that project, obviously if we had the money to do it. But I don't want to hold up from moving forward. So if we went ahead and approved this tonight, and we
Make 2 motions. You can make a motion to approve this project separately, and then you can make a motion to direct staff to move forward with an alternate bid if funding is available.
Okay.
And then that, at that point, that directs city staff, if there is funding, we can move forward. If there's not, then we end it there and it stays in our unfunded projects.
Okay.
And that becomes a decision by the city manager at that point.
Okay.
And I would recommend that to the city manager, and he would make that determination.
Mr. Chairman, I move we accept the bid, the proposal from Tandem Paving to approve the base bid for this project.
Second.
All right, motion's been made and seconded to accept the bid and from Hannah. Any discussion? Jenny?
I just want some clarification for my own mind's sake. As I look through what we had discussed earlier, so this project here is segment, I think it is 5, 6, 7, and 8. Am I correct? Or is it just 5, 6, and 7? 5, 6, and 7. What's in our packet is 5, 6, and 7.
You'll forgive me, what Member Sepola is looking at for the public is a packet that was handed out during the work session, so the public doesn't have access to this. The project that she is referencing, that is the alternate bid within that plan, is in fact the segment 5 of that proposal.
6.
Just 5, segment 5. It connects the roundabout to the project that you just approved, the Recreation Park Pedestrian. And if you'll see, it ends right across the street from that inlet of what used to be the overflow parking, which is now the construction access to the rack. So the intent of that alternate bid was just to go ahead and connect all the way down to the current trail that we have, which functions. It was just a connector item. Yes, it would connect to segment 4, which is already existing. No. No. Segment 5, all segment 5 does is connect the project you just approved to the roundabout sidewalk that already exists.
No, the current motion doesn't deal with that segment at all. Right.
That's always been separate. All right, any further discussion on that? All right, at this time, I'll entertain the vote on that. All those in favor? All right, passed unanimously. Thank you. Move on to item C.
Mr. Chairman, before we go too far, I'd like to get any other feedback from any other members if they'd be interested in having staff look for funds for that connector piece.
All right. Director?
I do have a suggestion. given that we have a price listed as an alternate bid, we now are recommending a contractor. Let staff look at what funding is available. We can always do a change order on the contract and add that project in, since it is bid, and that would buy me some time to see what kind of funding is available. Then we can do that at our March meeting and just add a change order to that contract at that
That'd
point.
be a budget amendment with a change order?
It
Yeah.
would be a budget amendment
Okay.
with the change order, but it would at least move the process forward, so the base bid would continue to move.
Because I mean, this isn't going to be done by March, right?
No, sir.
I mean, the
No,
plants won't be open yet,
Second
right?
reading, if it goes through council just by the calendar, second reading will be the second meeting of March, and then we can do a budget amendment.
Does it have to go, does a budget amendment have to do 2 readings through them too, or could they just do a one-time emergency?
I'll need to find out for that. I don't
Okay.
want to speak out of turn and tell you something that isn't accurate.
Yeah, no, I get it. Thank you.
But I can follow up, and at the next work session in 2 weeks, I can bring that information back to you, and the board can decide whether to.
Would it be
Make
better
a vote on
if it's directed to the staff as a motion?
Or at least a consensus, because I'm the only one that really said
I
it.
would entertain more a motion to direct staff to make that inquiry.
You do have that ability. You can direct me to just go for it and work that process through the administrative side, working along with the finance director and city manager. And then we can bring that straight to the council if the board likes it and wants us to move forward with it.
So my only question
Or
is,
you
when
can
you
leave it
start
for 2
talking
weeks.
about a motion, that's a procedural issue that wasn't on the agenda, so I don't know if we can really do an actual motion without just a request for something to happen in March. You know what I'm saying? As far as whether you do an official motion or we just have a discussion.
This is not a motion on this would be simply a direction. It's not the same as allocating.
It would be a
We're not
consensus.
allocating anything. Or
But a
we're not-
motion requires a vote. This is just a consensus discussion, correct?
Well, either one. If you want, if staff will accept the consensus, that's fine. It can either be directed, they can either be directed by a motion or by consensus.
Was anybody else interested? Guess that's yeah.
Anyone else have one input on this?
My recommendation is let me do my part. We'll bring it back at work session.
All
and
right,
we'll-
do it under
we'll go from
consensus.
that.
All right, that's fine.
It does no harm to find out what's in the fund balance to see if we can do it. It was not recommended because it made the project over budget, and I did not want to bring a project that was over budget to the board. So if you're directing me to look into that, I have no problems with that, and I'll bring it at the next work session, and we can discuss it at that time.
Then I would say at this time, we're asking you to, directing you to return with that information. All right. Any other matters that need to be addressed on this particular issue? All right, thank you. Then we'll move on to item C. It's going to be the fireworks contract. Director Mustine.
Thank you, sir. I am going to call on Recreation Superintendent to address the staff report.
Thank you, sir. As you guys are aware, 2017 was the first year of the J&M fireworks displays that we shot on the Saturday prior to the 4th of July at our Spirit of America event. When we brought that contract to you guys, it was a one-year guarantee with a possible extension for 2 additional years. So at this time, we're bringing it back forward to you guys with the new dates, just for a extension of the contract. J&M Displays was brought on board the 3 years prior to 17, so they shot 14, 15, and 16 as well. And so this is to extend the contract for 2018 with a Saturday, July 1st, or Saturday, June 30th date with a rain makeup day of Sunday, July 1st. So as you guys are aware, we did change that date. Like I said, it gave us more opportunities to offer a few more fireworks, the app, the musical, pirate musical, we had food trucks. So all of that stuff and a little bit more will be added by holding that date. And so we did have, discuss this also in a work session, and I know that council said, yeah, let's give it a shot for 1 year and do a test run with it. With the success of that event, with the board's recommendation and approval, we'd like to send it back to council with an extension for this year's contract to J&M Displays to shoot the Spirit of America fireworks show. So that is it on the report. I would entertain any questions if there are any, but staff's recommending extending that contract to take to council. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Sheldon.
Standard contract. I was looking here, some of the language is in conflict. It says here that a hold harmless can be signed. In the contract, it outlining their insurance, it suggests there will be a hold harmless. Has that been covered as well? That's inconsistent?
Is that in our contract, or is it in the proposal?
Let's call it the proposal.
It's the one from J&M. It's on page 2. It's like the 5th bullet point.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
4th bullet point.
Yes, typically we do
Yes.
require a hold harmless signature.
I know
Right.
the city normally does, and I was just wondering.
It is in the standard contracts. And
Yes, it is.
And one
Look
of-
back into that standard blueprint, whatever you want to call it, that you saw for the tandem paving. It's the same language, and you'll see it back in there.
Also, do we know who their reinsurance company is, by the way?
I will have to look that up. I don't recall it off the top of my head.
Okay.
Eric.
I'm curious about the rain out date. Did we have one last year?
Yes,
Did we have it scheduled?
Yes.
Do they make the call on the rain out, or do you guys make the call?
we do. We work together with them. Superintendent Rulo and I. Yes, and the fire marshal. Superintendent Rulo and I are in contact with them all day long. I mean, Steve and I are usually out there first thing in the morning because they usually bring some of the things in, like at 7 o'clock. Some things they bring in, they bring a truck the night before. PD helps watch and maintain that truck, and then they start setting up at 7:30 in the morning. So I believe it was two or 3 years ago, it was very wet, and Steve and I had to haul everything down there with the RTV versus letting their trucks down there. But if it's too dry, the fire marshal also is in, they have 3 different inspections they have to do through him, I believe, and so he's also in conjunction with that decision as a safety issue.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions? Brian.
Mr. Chairman, I move we recommend to City Council a contracted extension with J&M Displays for the fireworks display in 2018 to be held on Saturday, June 30th.
Second.
All right, motion's been made and seconded to accept this contract with J&M. Any discussion? All right, seeing none. All those in favor? Passes unanimously. Thank you. Move on to item D in the agenda. This is budget amendment, Memorial Park, on the parking lot. It's an action item. Director Musting.
Thank you, sir. This is a unique opportunity that presented itself. I wanted to give this to the park board for discussion and actually make a recommendation. It is something that is a little off the normal of what we would do in terms of I'm requesting a resolution of the park board, and my explanation is forthcoming here. If the board will recall, most of you were not here. I'm not even sure if Member Harris was here at this time, and when the Memorial Park parking lots were designed and built, okay, then he'll remember that this was a joint project with the school district. During the 2007, we had some GO bond funds, and they were doing a project as well. That back parking lot that connects Memorial Park and the schools district's portion that is right behind the school was, frankly, before the parking lot was there, it was a mess. And we got together and designed this and put it together, and it's functioned very well. It's a joint use parking lot. We use it, they use it. They have hired Insight Design to come in and do some projects within the school district. A part of that is crack seal and resurfacing of the parking lot at Raymore Elementary. They contacted us, being that the parking lots are the exact same age, whether we wanted to also do our parking lot in a joint effort to maximize resources and get a better price. We clearly did not have that budgeted in our CIP, but so I did ask them to place our side as an alternate bid on their project. During the course of that, they sent us the design, all of the specs, everything that they were doing, and all of that is included in your packet. Unfortunately, the timing of their bid process doesn't coincide with the timing of our park board meetings and our council meetings. So in order to be able to participate with this, we needed to be able to take this to council as soon as possible once the bids were opened. After talking with the city attorney and the city manager, the best way of the board giving staff direction to just move forward with council is a resolution with instructions of how you want me to proceed. So what you have before you is a resolution of, if this project comes within budget or basically is $12,000 or less, the park board is giving staff permission to move forward to city council for a recommendation. If this project comes in over $12,000, it's null and void and we won't participate. And the estimates that they provided when they were doing their cost estimates for the project range between 10 to 12. And the estimates that our engineering department, which I didn't get that before we submitted the packet to you, but since then over the weekend, on the high end, our city engineers basically estimated 12 to 15. So we feel like if it's 12 or below, that's worth looking into. If it's over 12, then we can wait. We can wait and program it in later. This is really just an opportunity that presented itself. I wanted to make sure that the board had a chance to look at it and make a move, direct staff if you feel that you want to. And ultimately what I would say is the parking lot it's 11 years old. It's got cracks in it. You know, it looks just like theirs. What's going to happen in the end, if we choose not to do it, theirs is going to look brand new, and there's going to be a black line right down the middle, and ours is going to look old, and we'll just keep painting stripes on it like we do every other year until we can do it. We did look into fund balance, our CIP fund balance, capital improvement, or our Fund 47 really isn't that fluid in terms of we don't have a whole lot of money to just go after and deplete that fund. But our operating funds, our Fund 25, in which what Mr. Rouleau's funds would come out of, has a pretty healthy fund balance right now, and we could afford to do that if we wanted to. So at this point, the resolution is basically the park board giving me permission to move forward if the price is right. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for the director? All right, seeing none, I'll entertain a motion for this resolution.
I move that we accept Resolution 1813 as listed in our packet.
Second.
Okay. All right, motion's been made and seconded. All right, any discussion? All right, seeing none. All those in favor of this resolution? All those opposed? All right, we have one opposed. Passes. Director.
Thanks, sir. I would like to address a couple things in the miscellaneous items. It's kind of unusual. I've added quite a bit of things in there, and I wanted to make reference to them. First, our pedestrian count results at Memorial Park and Good Parkway Trail. If you'll recall, last fall, we worked with the Community Development Department and Mid-America Regional Council on just pedestrian use of trails and sidewalks and stuff. And these are the results that we gained from those clickers or those counters. The counters at Memorial Park, it's all listed in there, but they were attached to one of the bridges there at the internal trail, and of course also down at Good Parkway. So just the results of those, interesting read. Mid-America Regional Council will use the information probably more than we will as they develop policies and procedures through regional-wide trails and stuff like that. But I wanted to give that information for you guys to look at. I thought it was pretty interesting. Next is the tree identification map and the sign templates that I referenced from the tree board, and then the status of capital improvements, tree notes, and those things. So just wanted to give those things to you and kind of give an explanation of what those pedestrian counts were. I know that was a few months ago. So thanks, sir.
All right. All right. We don't have any public tonight. Board member comments. I'll start with Brian.
I just want to say I voted no on the amendment. Not that I don't think it's a worthwhile project, and I would love the fact that it would match, but we also had an additional fund item that we're looking for. I was just in conflict personally with myself. I just want people to understand why, because I know Jenny over there had an inquisitive look that I voted no and was curious why, and that's why. Not that we couldn't do both. We have a parking lot already, so we're just tying in because somebody else is fixing theirs. Yeah, it could have gone either way, I guess. But I just couldn't make up a decision that quick, sorry.
All right, Jenny.
Thank you for your explanation, Brian. I appreciate it. I have no comments for the park.
Sheldon?
Nothing.
All right. Steve?
I just want to thank Superintendent and his staff for continuing hard work. Also want to thank City Council for them greenlighting a lot of projects after we say yes to it, and believing in us to move forward and spend funds the right way. That's all.
Thank you. Michelle?
With the weather being nicer, hopefully it's going to stay this way. Kids are out, so watch out for bicycles, skateboards, pedestrian, everything. Just watch out for everyone being out with the nice weather. Thank you.
All right. Melinda?
I just want to say that I love the Valentine's Day banquet. I think that's fun. I love that we're doing new things, that we're, branching out in different areas. And so I say kudos to our new staff that they're doing fun things, and that Gus took on the pergola, if you say that correctly. So yeah, great. I love this. So that's fun, new fun stuff.
Jim?
No comment.
Eric?
Ditto.
I don't know if that's proper procedure, but I'll accept that. All right. Thanks to staff again for a good meeting. And again, I'll I'll give Steve credit. He said things I would have liked to have said. I think I'll have to go first next time. With that, I'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
I move we adjourn.
Second.
All right, motion's been made and second for adjournment. There is no discussion. All those in favor? All right, this meeting's formally adjourned.